Hello, this is my project for abnormal psychology, and what I decided to do for my project was to do a brochure on dissociative identity disorder. So I decided to do this because, well, I wanted to write it in a point of view as if I'm a friend and I want to know more about like what can I do as a friend for them. So, and I wrote down right here that it can be challenging to have a friend who has dissociative identity disorder, but learning to understand them is a great first step. So that's the first page. The second page was what is DID? And it just basically goes on about what DID is. It's known as a multiple personality disorder. It's characterized by at least two distinct and dissociated personality states. The personality states, or alters as they're mostly known, they alternately control a person's behavior. This disorder is a result from severe repeated childhood trauma. This could include physical, sexual, and emotional abuse during their childhood. This traumatic events psychologically overwhelm a child, so the mind their mind splits off and creates the alters. It's a form of protection for them, and this helps them get by from day-to-day basis. And the amnesia that they suffer, the blackouts that some of them might say, is what keeps away the trauma. So it's a way to like have those memories far away from them. Okay, there is no cure, but there is a recommended treatment that is long-term psychotherapy. And they just hope that with time the different parts of the personalities can learn to communicate with each other, and they can work to heal the trauma. For our third page, it's stigmas on DID. I noticed that stigmas are a big part of DID because, well, here are three stigmas that I wrote down, which I think that these are the most important. The first one is that DID does not exist. It was officially recognized in 1980 when it was put into the DSM, and it's still a controversial topic whether it's real or not, but the main thing is that the symptoms are real and people are experiencing them. The second stigma is that DID is rare, and about 75% of people experience at least one depersonalization or derealization episode in their lives, and only 2% meet the full criteria for chronic episodes. For the third stigma, it's people with DID are dangerous, and people with DID are no more likely to be violent than anyone else. Everybody gets angry, so of course they have right to that, but there are very few cases that link crime to DID. For my fourth little page in the middle, I put a question that most people who have friends would ask themselves. My friend has DID. What do I do? And there are three things that you can do, which is the first one would be stay calm during the switches. When the switches between alters happens, it's very subtle. They barely notice it. There's no change because normally the alter acts as that person, so it won't be so they won't get like rejected or something. And when you notice this, it's helpful for them to stay calm because it's upsetting for them if they are met with hostility or fear. The second one is learn how to recognize triggers. This could be sounds, smells, places, touches, or times of the year including, and you can figure these out by just observing your friend's behavior or asking them. For the third one, this is more to oneself. That's to take care of yourself. And it could be to be on alert about triggers. It could be like draining. It could drain you, and the main part is for you, if you want to help your friend, for you to be tending to your own physical and mental well-being. For the next part, I wrote a small biography on this girl who has DID. Her name is Jessica Mayer, and she has 4 personalities. The oldest one is 25, and the youngest is a 10-year-old, and they are all boys. Jessica started to suffer from panic attacks when she was about 6 years old, and this was when her alters were coming out, but she didn't know until she was 13. And this was because her best friend confronted her about it, telling her that she couldn't be doing stuff like that. And she didn't know that she was being a boy to other people. And so one day she went home to look in her closet and found boy shirts and trousers. And she hadn't know where they came from. That's how she started out. And right now, how I found her was in a YouTube channel called Multiplicity in Me. And so far, she has explained, she has a documentary about her, how she found out, how she felt. But despite all of her problems, Jess has taken control of her life. She has a husband. She recently had a baby. She has 2 jobs. And she plans to be a clinical psychologist. I thought by including Jessica in this, it would be helpful for people to know you have DID, but it's not the end of the world. She had help during her pregnancy, so she could be mentally stable. So you could follow her on YouTube on the channel called Multiplicity in Me, and that's a lot of people with DID post about themselves and how they're dealing with all this stuff. So yeah, I thought that would be interesting to add in there. For the last part, I actually went to where I got some of my information, which is called NAMI. I found a line of hope in case if you have any questions, and they do have an address that's close to here. It's like, well, not that close. It's in Sacramento. And they have contacts, the helpline, and then the contacts for Sacramento if you want to call them. And yeah, that's basically it, and an email address. So that is my project. I had a great time doing this and researching more about DID and learning about Jessica Nerode. I recommend you to go watch her. It's really cool. Her story is amazing. Well, not that amazing, but it's really cool to see somebody who has DID and is inspiring others by sharing her life with them. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this, and bye.